Okay, hello everyone. Before I get into the system, I thought just give a quick update about who we are, like who is what is about a quick about PDS Vision. Therefore, as you all see that we have done more than 1,000 plus PLM projects. When I say PLM projects, these are the complete big digital transformation projects. We are not including the smaller upgrades and so on, and we have around 480 employees, and they are spread all across the globe. We operate around from around 15 countries, and then these employees are spread across these 15 countries. And one key differentiator for us is this, that majority of our employees, they are technical specialists. And when I say technical specialists, they are mostly PTC certified in some of the other areas, probably in Windchill or Euphoria or ThingWorks and so on. So that's a quick update about PDS Vision. And then what we do is we provide advisory services. We engage. We have a lot of strategic engagements with large customers where we provide them the roadmap services, and and guide them how can they go about for digital thread or digital transformation or digital twin or the complete road mapping of their PLM landscape and so on. And then apart from it, we also do PLM implementation services, which is PLM, ALM, SLM, and so on. Now, when it comes to all this enterprise application implementation, we do consulting, implementation, migration, upgrade, and whatever it takes for those application services. So we provide all those solutions. Apart from it, we have our own solution stack, which we call it as a MyPDS, and this caters to different areas where you may find some gap on what you need and what the software provides, and we try to bridge those gaps, and that is where MyPDS comes into the play. And then we do digital thread orchestrations, like this could be with any of this technology. And we rebuild the PLM landscape, like whether it may require an integration with ERP, or it may require integration with a modeler and a PLM system, or ALM and PLM, and so on. So basically it's more about making sure that you are able to have a traceability from start till the end. So we try to enable such capabilities, and we work for almost all industry verticals. The ones which are highlighted here are the key ones where we are very active. Now let's get to the topic of the day, that is what's new in Codebeamer 2.2. 2.2 was introduced about last quarter, early last quarter. So therefore, some of you would have already seen it. Just a quick update on what's new. These are the things which are new, and I will go through each one of them. I will be toggling between the PowerPoint and the system itself so that you get the concept, and then you also see it in action. The very first thing is about one Codebeamer. If some of you may know that there is two Codebeamer software version. One is a Codebeamer, we call it as a Codebeamer, and the other is we call it as a Codebeamer-X. And in this case, like in from 2.2, both are merged. That means you have just one Codebeamer. And the good part of it is this, that you have the best of both into one, that is 2.2. And now Codebeamer-X also has got the latest Gen UI. And what we will see is that is what you can see in Codebeamer 2.2. Uh, Let me just show you this directly on the system. Therefore, if I log in, now I'm logging in. This is Codebeamer 2.2, and the best way to see is the version below here, 2.2, and most of these UIs are still the earlier one, whatever we used to use in 2 or 2.1, except some of the tabs. Like for if you click on the review tab, you will see a different UI version here, and this version is like the latest version, or the latest UI. And going forward, eventually most of this UI will start moving on this platform. So therefore, this is one of the key thing in Codebeamer 2.2. And you can also, like for example, some of this UIs you can also toggle and see, like okay, it goes back because, yeah, if I go to this Codebeamer in this mode. You can see it. Apart from it, I have also opened another browser session just to show you this UI in more detail and with a different ID, so that we can see the comparison of old and new. But when it comes to Review Hub, it will always toggle it to the latest one, because Review Hub has already been introduced with the new UI. Now I'm logging in with another user, and just to demo this part of the UI. And the users can decide which UI they want to use. There is also a preference provided. Therefore, you can say that I always want to use this version, the latest version, and you can start working on this version. And now in this case, if you see here, when you look at the projects and when you look at the older one, it looks like this, the project browser. But here it is a bit different, right? The same thing is for everything. Like suppose if I go for reports or if I go for all the reviews, you will see the UI is a bit different compared to what you see in the old one. So this is one of the key change in 2.2. But more importantly, the message is this, that uh, these all comes from the feedbacks which PTC gets from all the users. And one of the feedback was on the UI and on Codebeamer-X versus the other Codebeamer. And now we have one Codebeamer, and eventually most of these UIs over the next releases will start looking something like this with the latest platform. Okay. Then this is just a quick snapshot of some of this UI. Like when you log in, this is how it looks like on the new one. And this is about the project list, what you see in the old one, what you see in the new one, and so on. And when you create a project, it's more wizard oriented and so on. Okay, now the next thing is about Review Hub. Now, even since Review Hub has been completely moved to the new platform, so therefore, if you go onto the Review Hub, like suppose in this case, like right now I'm in the Review Hub, and if you see these filters are much better than what it used to be earlier. I can show you the earlier one. Like suppose if you go into any project, suppose if I go into any one of this project, and I'll just show you the tracker review, tracker filters. If you see these filters, suppose if I go into system requirement. Now, even though these filters, it's not that they are not intuitive. It's just that these are the filters which was there earlier, and then add and odd and so on. But now in this, the filters are much more neat and clean. Like if I want to filter, saying here like system, and click enter, and then I get only the system stuff and so on, right? But apart from it, I can also filter based on the project which I'm looking at, based on the tracker which I'm looking at. Click apply or click clear, and then you get it come back. These are some. I'm just trying to highlight some of the key things in the new UI, and I don't think that you need to undergo any training to adopt this new UI. It's almost the same intuitiveness, but it's much neater, much cleaner. Okay. And then when it comes to Review Hub, you can create a new review. And if you see this wizard is again much better, much cleaner. Now suppose if I want to create a new one, let me just pick some project. I pick a project, then I pick a tracker. Pick a tracker as suppose system requirements or something. Okay. And then and there's no item inside this, therefore let me just pick system requirements, or I need to pick a different project. Yeah. Okay, and then you pick the project trackers what you need, and these capabilities are still the same old ones. That means you can create a Review Hub with respect to a tracker. I can give the whole tracker for review, or I can pick a report which can pull data from different projects, and then I can give it for review. Or you can pick items from some specific releases, and then you can send it for review. But this is like exactly the same capability. I just wanted to show you the UI part of it. So therefore, what I have done is that I've just picked a project, and from this project, I'm picking up a tracker which I want to submit for review. Now, then you can just give the name and all these things. If you see, it is much more neater and cleaner. um, and you can put the text here. Again, the description is the wiki text. All this, these are also better, neat and cleaner compared to the earlier one. And then you can select the means you can select all these things about the review. The other key thing which I wanted to highlight was this, that you also have a new capability that the moderator can create an item from the review comment itself. And then here you can specify, when you want to create this item, which project this item should belong to, and which tracker, and so on. This was not there in the earlier version, therefore this is a new capability added, and so on. Okay, therefore I'll just go next, and just to create and just show you the other differences, how it looks like. Now, when you look at this review, if since I selected the tracker, these are all the tracker items, and it shows the ID of the tracker and the prefix of the tracker, but these are all the tracker items, and now I have this whole Bible, or whole all of the complete tracker in front of me to review. And if you see it, it looks very good because it is completely three panels, like the typical Word document. You see the hierarchy on the left, and in the middle you see the content, and then the right hand side you see the statistics, what is going on. So suppose now in this case I say approve, or I say approve here, or suppose for some cases I want to put a comment, I can just select this and put a comment here, saying that please check, or do something about it. And like suppose I can pull my name itself and say please check this one. I am holding on the review, okay, something like that. Okay, and you can set this, save these comments, and so on. Okay, and all this. Okay, therefore, and apart from it, you can also see statistics. Suppose if somebody has approved or rejected for each one of it, you have a statistics next to it, and a lot of review descriptions and other stuff, everything you can see it here. So this is a bit different. And then if you can click this comment, you will see the consolidated comment for each and every item, like what is going on, and all the comments for us with respect to every tracker which is part of this review. And then this is the statistics about the review, and then the history about the review. So this looks much neat and cleaner, and this is what the new UI looks like. And then I can say complete my review once I'm done, and all that. So this is a bit on the review hub. And you also have, I don't have much things here to on my recently accessed, because I just created this ID for just showing you this UI. But you have also have something here known as recently accessed, and that also looks very neat and clean. I have a screenshot on this PowerPoint somewhere here, just to show you this part. So therefore, all this will look much better in the new UI. Okay. Then apart from it, let me just quickly see what else is there. Therefore, this is about the review hub. Now comes baseline release. Now you all may know that you can create a baseline in Codebeamer, which is at this stage, at this place. You can create a baseline project, or you can also create a baseline of a tracker. Like I can create a baseline for the complete system requirements. That means it's a snapshot of all the system requirements at that given moment of time, right? The same way you can create a baseline for a project. That means all the trackers, whether it is customer requirement, system requirement, the complete V model, or the complete work which has gone under the V model, right? Now you do this baselines when you are at some quality toll gates, like at either you are at a quotation phase, you're submitting for a quotation, you got the deal, and then you're doing the development, or you are doing the sample A release, and so on, right? So when you create those baselines, you're creating at certain release, and now what you can do is you can go to the specific release and see the baseline. For example, in this project I have some releases. Therefore, let me go to this project. Now I'm going to a baseline under this project, that is some demo project 2. I have some baseline from the last month, therefore it is easy for me to just go back in the past. Now I'm looking at a baseline, as you see here. Like if I click here, it is the latest, and if I see this is the baseline version, which is September 2024. Now, under this baseline, while I am seeing all this data, like when I click this tracker, everything I'm seeing is under this baseline, like something which has happened a month back. Now, under this, while I'm here, I can switch over to my releases. Therefore, I can go to look at the releases, and this release which I am seeing, like release one and some release one backlog and all this content and snaps and all snapshot and all, don't look at the data because these are all demo data and stuff. But what I wanted to say is this, that in September month this project had released only release one and two sprints, and these were the work items which was done at that time. It is a purely a snapshot of last month. But having said that, now what in 2.2 what we provide is you can go back to the release plan and still generate a release note, and generate a release note. Like for example, if I go here release note, and I can generate a release note again of a past project. Past project means of the past baseline. And the other thing is this, that I can just pick this whole thing and then send to review hub again. Basically, it means that all the items which are going to undergo review are from the date when the baseline was created. Means only those items. If anything was created after that baseline, they are not part of this review. So therefore, you can just go to that specific release, and from there you can pick it up and see. As you see here, all the contents are already attached. Now I just need to say next, fill the name, give the name, fill it, put a assignee who is going to review, who will be the moderator, and then I am done. So this is another good part of it, that you can just pick up a release and then send it for review. Now, if I go back here, now if you see here, since it's release one and backlog here, I'm in the baseline view, and then I can always go back and go back to the head, which is the latest, just to show you that in the latest there are two releases. So this is the only difference. Like what has happened in the past, and after that you have progressed forward, those things gets filtered, and then you can always go back to any baseline in the past, and then generate a release note, or send it back, send the whole items from that release to the review hub. This is one more key change. Okay, that is generate this, send to review hub, and then you can access exactly the same tree, or exactly what story points and other things. All that calculations and everything remains as it is, and you can see the snapshot. This is a good one because this is also was an ask for some of the customers from Codebeamer 2.1, like in this year itself, which was released. That whenever you start any project, suppose I go here and I create a project. When I create a project, I always select a template, right? And suppose if I select this automotive template, now what happens if this template changes? So earlier what used to happen was that if you select this template and create a project, the template still can be changed. They were never locked. So what I mean to say is, when you install Codebeamer and when you import all this template, you will like these templates to be locked. And that is what is the change in 2.2. In 2.2, you can lock the template so that the other administrators are aware of it, and they don't by mistake go and start changing the template. Therefore, there is a little bit of a more better control on the templates. Okay, that's one part of it. The other part of it is, when you change the template, you can see that data getting reflected as well. Like for example, just not today itself, I miss just about an hour back, I create this project, okay, for this demo itself. Now in this project, I used a template, automotive template here. So if you see here, this is an automotive template. You have system engineering, software engineering, and hardware engineering, and the machine learning engineering, and this eventually leads to a V model. Now in this, if I go to any one of them, suppose if I go to customer requirement spec, okay, and I have just one customer requirement here. I have added here two fields, like custom field one, custom field two, and then there are all these other fields are from the template. Means it's not added from me, like it's all from the template. And what you can do now is, now this was another issue. Like in the past, like suppose if I go to choice field two, if you see here in the drop down menu, I have A, B, C, D, F. Now suppose I use F, okay, and F is used, And here in that text field, I give here demo. Okay, it's just another field. Okay, I'm just trying to show you what it means. Now earlier, now behind the scene there is a template which is providing me these two attributes, right? Now earlier what, and since I'm an admin here, I can go and reconfigure this data model. Therefore I go back, and now I want to go back to the fields, and I want to delete this field. Okay, this custom field 1. And when I try to delete now it will not allow me to delete, because earlier it was allowing me to delete even though I have some data which is already created which uses this field. But now if I try to delete, it will give you a message saying that this is already in use, you cannot delete it. Now this may look very simple thing. Okay, it should have not happened it, but earlier it was allowing you to delete, which was a little bit of a concern. But now it doesn't allow you to delete because there is a data which is using this field, and you cannot delete. You can just hide it so that it's not seen in the view, but the data still remains intact. That's point number one. The second point is this, that I also showed you another field known as choice field. Now in choice field, I have A, B, C, D, E, F, and the data is using F. Now, if suppose if I'm an admin and I go and remove this F, but I don't know if somebody is using or not. If I go and remove F, that means there are work items which is using the value as F, uh, and I'm deleting the F from the drop down menus, right? So therefore this is also not correct. Therefore what Codebeamer does is it marks it as obsolete. It doesn't allow you to delete. Now when I click save, so now it is saved, but if you see here, it says very clearly that this has been modified to obsolete. Why? Because it is being used. So therefore, if something is being used, it will not delete. Therefore, if I go back here again, it will still be there in the list, but it marks as obsolete. But suppose if I delete A and click OK here and click save. Now this is also delete because again in some other place I'm using this A as well. So this is thing which is keeps coming again. Or I create something and customer requirement deleted it, which was having A, and it is in trash, and it is still in use. So therefore it doesn't allow you to delete. If any field is in use, it will not allow you to delete it. That is point number one. Therefore if I go back here, go back to the tracker, what will happen to the tracker is, in the tracker, in the work item, you will still see this value F even though it's deleted, because it is persisted as F. Now when I click it, when I want to change it, when I want to revise or want to change it, right, then it will not give me F anymore. It will just say B, C, D now, because F was deleted, E was deleted, and A was also deleted, right? So now I can select here B. But then for my history, like if I just double click and go inside the history, it will always show me that how the values were changed, and F will always remain because these were all set earlier and then deleted later, and the latest value now is F, and the earlier value was, sorry, latest value is B, and the earlier value was F. So the point in the nutshell is this, that uh, you have a data model, you're creating data on top of it. Now you cannot tamper the data model and create a gap there, right? So therefore that is now much better controlled now. Okay. Now, the other thing I want to show here is that now customer requirement and stuff, right? When I go to this tracker, like suppose in this case, when I go to configure, I can lock the tracker. Therefore, as a system admin, sorry, okay, I don't have the permission, or 1 minute, let me go here. Okay, I go here back. You can lock basically I want to say is that you can lock the changes so that nobody can do the data model changes. Therefore anyway, if you go here, I can lock this, and once this is locked, this tracker is locked. And this was the message here, that whenever you import a template, they will get locked. Now you can lock at an individual tracker level. Like for example, right now I am locking customer requirement spec, but the other like a system requirement, it is not locked, right? Because I am not locked specifically. Now you may think that, do I need to do this for every tracker? Answer is no. You can also go to the admin, that is at the project level, and you can lock all the trackers or you can unlock all the trackers in one go. So therefore, it can be done at a project level or it can be done at a tracker level. The other thing I want to show here is that this also was another request from some customers. Like in this case, suppose if I see this chassis and then you see here there's so many attributes here, right? They all come from the data model, right? Now, if safety requirement, it has got safety requirement a question mark, right? Now, when you go and try to change a data model, I am at a project level and the project has inherited their master data model from a template, right? Now, what it does is, like, suppose if I go to any field, you see here it says that do you want to change thing in the template from which it was created or in the project itself? And I have now an option to say that I want to change the template from which this project was created. So I go here and click here. Now if you see, I have gone to the automotive template from where this project was created. And now I go and change the data model like safety requirement. And I go here. Okay, this is okay. As you see here, this is locked. So therefore, first thing I need to do is, because I'm an admin, I have a permission to unlock. Therefore, I unlock this and then I go to the field here, and then this safety requirement, I change this label. Okay, I remove this question mark and probably put a hyphen. Okay, and click here. Okay, now if I go back to my data again, in a project, because there are a lot of other projects which was created by Codebeamer Automotive 3.0 template. That means in all those projects, now what would have happened is, now if I go to the recent object, recent requirement, this one, go to the document view and look at this requirement. Now if you see a safety requirement hyphen, right? So now the good part is this, that many times, you have defined a template for your organization, and you have spinned off like 10-20 projects, and now you want to go and make some label changes and some descriptive changes, some things which are not very hard data model changes, right? You can still do it in the template and it will get reflected on all other projects which are spinned from there. So that's another good part of it in this area. As I said, if the field is in use, you cannot delete it. If the values are in use, you cannot delete it. You can lock, unlock trackers, and so on. Okay. Then the other thing is on auditing. Now, on auditing, a lot of again, additional capabilities are added. Like when you go to the admin, you may see this audit trial. Now here you can do a tracker specific audit. Like suppose in this case, suppose if I go back here, in this case, I just hit go. Therefore you can see, like, for each tracker what all things has happened from 16th September till 17th October. I gave a very long date. I should not have given it, but anyway, it is a new project, therefore nothing much. But it shows now for all the tracker what changes. Like just now we changed this safety requirement question mark to safety hyphen, right? Every small changes are captured, and you can filter now with respect to the tracker. I don't need to do this for the whole project and all over the system, but I can specifically choose, like, I want to see the changes of for this project specific to customer requirement or specific to like system requirement, and then you can look at what changes has happened on those trackers. That's one part of it. The second part of it is, like, if I go to my system admin area, here also you have an audit, and you can, as you all know, that you can audit everything which happens in Codebeamer. Every actions are recorded. Now in this case, suppose for any target user, suppose in this case, if I use my own ID, suppose Amit, okay, and this ID, and say that show me what has happened with this ID. Therefore it will show me like this ID was created on 27th September and so on, and whatever has happened, okay, some access was granted and all that. Basically you can do this specific permission changes for every user, what permissions has changed from date 1 to date 2. You can see it, earlier it was not there. So this is very specific for each user, and why it is required is because many times users are onboarded and removed from a project. Sometimes additional access are granted. All that is recorded. So that is the good part of it now. The next is about reporting and export. This is much better, and there's a lot of things which has happened on Google Docs. We have customers who also use Google Workspace, and there are changes in that area as well. Therefore, if I go back again to recently accessed, pick this system requirement, go to the document view. Now, suppose this one, if I export it, like suppose if I just export this, the complete set of requirement, and put here all this export and say in the Word document. Now, another thing is every export and every mass edit happens in the background. Therefore, they don't happen while you're doing it. Like I can keep doing something else. Once the work is done, I'll see a pop-up here. So therefore, and this is not only for export, it's also for mass edit or any task which is going to take time. Because see, right now I'm just showing you only like two requirements. Like hardly there's any requirement here, right? See, now it has come up. I just double click to pull it out. Now, this is only two requirement, but there are customers who have 10,000. There are 10,000 work items in this page, and if they have to export, it's better that it goes in the background queue. So that is the whole purpose of it, just to make sure that any future releases and every future releases, PTC tries to make sure that the software is much more better performing, right? And these are like some of the changes with respect to that methodology. Now, if I see here, this file got exported just now, and now what I can do is I have also opened my Google Drive. I don't use that much, but just for this demo, and I can take this item from here and put it in Google's workspace. And now if I open it here, if I double click, you see here the Google Docs, and this is the export of what we are seeing here now in the screen. And sorry, not this screen. This screen I can just close because the job is done. I'll just go to the browser back. This one. Now, what you see here, the navigation panel, something similar is there in Google Docs as well. So you can see here, this is the left panel where you see the tree structure, and then in the middle, the content structure and so on. So now the Google Workspace is better supported. There are other changes which has happened, but I don't know exact all the changes because we don't use Google Workspace that much. But we have customers who use Google Workspace, and for those customers, it's now good to export and import. Okay, so this is on export import, and then we talked about this, like the background operations. Now, anything which is mass update or in bulk, they all happens in the queue based. That is, it goes and happens in the background, and then you get an update. Like for example, the same requirement. If I go in a tabular view, and if I want to change like in the Excel view, and I want to change bunch of these attributes. Like for example, I go here, there are only two of them, but just think in your real case, you will have like 50 or 100 and so on, right? Now here I'm just defining a ASIL definition and marking everything as ASIL D and save it. And then I want to change what else? I want to change a status, and I mark something as everything as in review. Okay, just for example, and I click save. Now this all goes in a queue in the background as you see here, and there's some errors also, and you can click and see what is the error because I changed the status, which is not so straightforward because it requires some approval and so on. That's why it did not allow me. But yeah, therefore it is the state was a problem. It did not allow. But my point here is that any mass update, it goes over in a queue. If you get an error, it will pop up here, and you will also get an email. Therefore, whatever, even the export, you will get an email, you will get a link to the exported file. Same way, if I get an error, you will get a link. You can click and you can see what happened with your job. Or you just wait for some time. If the job gets completed while you are still on the browser, you will see it on the browser online as well. Okay. So this is on all the heavy lifting operations. Then in the last release, there was a Japanese version which was included. So basically, over the period, now we have Japanese, Chinese, and Korean. Therefore, if you see here, like suppose if I go to a better view, this tracker view. Now, Japanese was added last time in 2.1. Now we have Korean and Chinese. Therefore, if you just toggle it, okay, now you see everything in this other language. Now it also depends, what translations is there put in the backend, like the translation files and so on. But otherwise, all the menus and all that, wherever the UI menus are there, those things will get automatically changed to the language which you select. And we already have Deutsch and English. Therefore, I go back to English now. So this is only for an extended team. And then comes Azure Repo integration. This is about the source code management. Therefore, if I go here, I don't have something ready to show, but I'll show you in one of the project I had this. This is about a source code management. Therefore, you can now you can also connect to Azure. Suppose if you're using Azure Repos for your source code management, you can configure it, and then you can give all these details. You also have SCN for your security tokens and all that. And then if I click this, it will take me to Azure DevOps and to the specific organization. And if I do any commit or any changes in this area, and then give, whenever you check in any code, or whenever you're making any changes in the code, you have to just give a hash and the tracker ID number or the work ID number. Basically, you get a task in Codebeamer, right? So now every task has got an ID. Now when you get a task, you take that ID and put that ID before you check in the code, while you check in the code, so that you have the traceability with every change which you're doing in the code, with respect to the requirement, or with respect to the task, or with respect to the user story, depending upon what you want to link to. So therefore, this is how it gets linked. And then you can also see the source code repository here itself, like means a snippet of it here itself. So this is the part, this is on the SCM. You can now work with Azure Repo as well. This is another one which is on the integration. Now you all may know, like in the last version in Codebeamer 2.1, PTC also provided an adapter to link with MATLAB Simulink. And in this version now, the integrations are provided by the partners, and this is provided by consultants. They are PTC partner. They are also partner to us as well. And they also the solution is known as Colt, and this Colt is they have a framework which supports other modeler as well, or other enterprise tools as well, like for example enterprise architect as well. But for this demo, I'm just showing you about the CATIA Magic and Codebeamer. And instead of showing you the product itself with the UI, I'm just trying to explain the concept so that it's much easier, because as I said, they have a framework which supports many others as well, like from Codebeamer, and most of them are all OSLC based. Therefore, that is the base framework. And if you need this Colt software or any other integration softwares, you can scan this QR code and contact them to get the installable. Now, these are the use cases. Very quick, I'll just walk you through more from the concept perspective, very logical view. Now, what you have is this, that you may have a modeler, okay, which is like in this case, it is a CATIA Magic where you're doing a system modeling. And then this side is the Codebeamer. Now, it depends on the strategy, how you want to strategize. The whole recommendation is that Codebeamer should be your centralized requirement repository. That means it's the Codebeamer which is going to stitch your whole V model. Okay. Now, therefore, in this case, and if since it is a system modeling tool, any system modeling tool will typically support all the four pillars, right? The structure requirement, the structure diagram, the behavior diagram, the parametric diagram, and the requirement diagram. So therefore, you may have also requirements here itself, right? But suppose in this case, I want to develop a structure diagram, and I define a card, and then all these subsystems, right? Now for this subsystems, I have a requirement, and the requirement is in Codebeamer, right? So therefore, they provide you the query to query Codebeamer from CATIA Magic. That's one of the use case. Now, if I want to query anything from Codebeamer, typically you need a project, you need a tracker, and you need to know which tracker item I want to query, right? So therefore, whenever you use this use case, Colt or consultants team, they will provide a UI which will ask you, know which project in Codebeamer, which tracker in Codebeamer, and which tracker item you want to pick, and you can pick and you can pull the information here and link it with your diagram, link it with your modeling element. Okay, so that is one of the use case. The second use case is this, that as you see here, you can do a requirements management, not management, but you can define requirements in CATIA Magic or any modeling tool, system modeling tool, right? But since you want to make Codebeamer as your single source of truth for requirements, you want to convert this CATIA Magic requirement into proxy requirement and just make it as a pointer to Codebeamer requirement. So now you can do that as well. Therefore, in this case, as you see here, while defining the requirement diagram, the requirement was defined here, CATIA Magic requirement 1, and it was defined in CATIA Magic. But then we want this requirement to be mastered here. So therefore, we use a convert. We say convert CATIA Magic requirement into proxy requirement. What it means is, it means that this becomes a proxy requirement. Like see requirement. This is a proxy requirement, and it points to now a requirement which will be mastered in Codebeamer now. So therefore, the utility or the integration, what it does is it creates a requirement in Codebeamer side and makes the CATIA Magic requirement as a proxy requirement, so that you still are doing the complete system modeling. Everything is intact. There's the whole integrity is maintained. It's just that the requirement is pointed to the Codebeamer. Okay, and then there are other capabilities here. Then there will always be a case where you want to create requirements in Codebeamer while you are doing a system modeling, because while you're doing a modeling, you all want to put constraints, and requirements are mostly constraints, and but at the same time you don't want to go to Codebeamer to create it, right? While you're doing the work, you want to do this requirements in Codebeamer. So they provide the code also provides you this capability where I am on the modeling screen, and under this model I want to create a requirement, but I don't want to create a requirement here. I want to create a requirement here and make this requirement as proxy requirement and the master requirement here. What you do is, you say that I want to do this, it will open up a form. And why a form? Because in the form you need to say which project you want to use in Codebeamer, which tracker, like is it a customer requirement, is it a system requirement, is it a software requirement, and so on. And then you need to fill this, and then you need to provide a requirement details and click OK. Once you do that, the requirement gets created in Codebeamer, and there's a proxy requirement gets created in CATIA Magic, and they are linked here to the link. Okay, so these are very important and useful capability, because and after creating, I would like to even update. So therefore, the same logic, just click this and say I want to update the requirement in Codebeamer. Therefore, what you're doing is you are working on your system engineering part in this tool, on the left hand side tool, and at the same time you don't need to toggle to Codebeamer. You can use this OSLC link or the OSLC framework provided by consultants, the solution built over the OSLC, and and you can just work only from one place and update the items on the Codebeamer side. Same thing, create packages. Suppose you already have the whole requirement created here. Okay, now you see, when you are doing a modeling, there's so many things you do in a modeling, right? You have tons of behavioral diagrams, right? And in one of the use case diagram, let's take a use case diagram. In a use case diagram, I have an actor can do these things, these use cases, and all that, right? And now I want to link an actor with some of it, okay? Or I want to link this use case with somewhere here, or this with something here, right? So I would like to have this complete set on my modeling tool. I don't want to go for every one and start picking requirements and connect it, right? So therefore, for this, what Colt provides, or what consultant team has done is they have an option to create a package from a tracker. What it means is I can select the system tracker first of all and get a package created here. Okay, so now I have all my system requirements, a package created here. And as a next step, like this is the first step, and as a next step, either I can select tracker items and then create requirements, or I can import everything. What I mean to say is, like, I can select only transmission and say get the proxy requirement created here, or I can import everything. I can just select all these things and say I want to get everything created on this side as well. But remember, these are not requirement, these are proxy requirement. Your requirement is here, and these are like a pointer to your requirement in Codebeamer. But the good part is, now what you do is, when you are modeling on the left hand side, when you're building any of these diagrams, now you have all these requirements available. You can just associate things like this and work on one side, right? So this is the advantage of it. Apart from it, I'm not going through all the things which Colt provides, but just to also update you that you see a hierarchy here, right? So the requirements could be like in n levels depending upon how you want to organize your requirement. And in this case, again, Colt or consultant teams, they have taken care of all these things. They provide something known as update parent, and it will just, based on this hierarchy, it will re-update the hierarchy inside it. Therefore, if I click this plus symbol here, you will see, the child requirements underneath here. And also, like, you may have like all these modeling elements, right? For different modeling elements, suppose you have like, state machine, or you have an actor, or you have, a package, or just a structured diagram, or a requirement diagram, or any one of this, right? Most of them have got a menu to connect to a requirement. Like, for example, here, this actor is connected to a requirement. A transmission is a weird one, but just for illustration purpose, if you have a connection like this, you can manage all the suspect. You can just right click and say update the tracker, update the actor, and it will go and check what is there in Codebeamer. And if in Codebeamer something has been revised from 1 to 2, or means version wise, or 2 to 3, if there has been some changes, you will see this actor getting highlighted. Or any of this use case where this actor is used, you will see a quick highlight there saying that this actor is changed. A actor needs a change because the requirement which is associated with this actor has undergone a change. So therefore, these are the key things. Okay, we still have 10 minutes. I just checked the time, that we have 10 minutes, but just wanted to go back to the main screen, and just to update you that, just to give. Therefore, these are in the summary. These are the changes. Therefore, your UI, it's just a snippet of it, I would say. Like, in the coming versions, you will see more tabs getting with the new ramped up with the new UI. Review Hub is completely on the new UI. Therefore, even if you're on the older UI on the other tabs, Review Hub will be a completely different UI. Don't get surprised when you click that. And the baseline, there are further capabilities added on the baseline. Templates, as you saw that, it's a very much more refined. Like, if you want to make any minor changes on the template, it gets reflected on the projects and so on. Audits enhanced. Okay, audit was already there, the project audit, as well as the tracker level, or the user level, or the system level, but they all have, some new capabilities. Reporting and export all happens now through the background. It depends upon what type of query you have written and all that. But any mass item updates or any heavy lifting, it is on the background job. And additional languages added. Okay, every time there's a new language getting added, and then integration with Azure and the CATIA magic. That is Dassault's CATIA magic. Now I stop here. We still have 10 minutes. Actually, it is yeah. We can take questions if. Yeah, one of the question is this, that yeah, in Google Workspace, is the comments supported? Answer is no. This is also one of the feedback which was there in 2.1, but there's a lot of changes which has happened in Google Workspace. But when you are, if suppose in case of let me just again share my screen. In case of any, like, okay, so therefore the question is more on, suppose in this case, like, when I go to any project, or sorry, any project, and when I go to this tracker, when you export any one of these tracker items, right? They may also have comments. Like, for example, if I go here, if I go to any one of them, if I scroll below, see there's a comment here, like there's a JPEG here, right? Now, if this JPEG, like if I'm exporting it, I would like to see these comments in the Google Doc as well, like in this doc as well. But it is not displayed here. Like if you see here on the right hand side, the comments do not come, and it is still pending. Therefore, probably it may happen. Okay. The next question is when will the all the tabs be ramped up to the new UI. There's not a specific timeline provided, but means this is just to show that okay, and also to get some early feedback, right? I guess so from PTC, on behalf of PTC I'm saying. But I think eventually in the next releases you will see like more tabs moving to the ramped up UI on a new.
Yep, thank you everyone for joining. This link will be shared with all attendees in the next day or two, and also have a look at our on-demand webinar program on PDSVISION.com for all previous webinar topics. Thank you for joining, and we'll catch you next time.
Thank you everyone.